Two women walked out of the bar, laughing, about to drive home. At that moment, a clown slowly approached. With a strange smirk on his face, the drunk Don actually started to tease the clown, and the clown's expression gradually changed. When Tara turned around again, the clown was gone. Tara quickly pulled Don into a nearby pizza shop to hide. Just as they sat down, the clown followed closely behind. He stared intently at Tara, then started making various funny faces. He seemed to be trying to amuse Tara. But Tara not only didn't find it funny but also felt a bit eerie. She told Don that she wanted to leave, but Don not only didn't listen but also took pictures of the clown, squeezing his face. At that moment, the owner of the pizza shop walked over, and the clown remained silent, continuously staring at Tara. Then the owner of the pizza shop impatiently left. Suddenly, the clown stood up, picked up a coin from the table, and put it into a capsule toy vending machine. He took out a ring from it, then knelt down and forcibly put the ring on Tara's ring finger. Though reluctant, Tara politely said thank you. Then he walked into the restroom with great swagger. At that moment, the owner of the pizza shop walked over and placed the pizza on the table, comforting the two of them before leaving. Due to him making a mess in the restroom, the furious owner couldn't bear it anymore and kicked him out. Finally, the clown left. Tara pulled Don out of the pizza shop. As they were getting ready to drive home, they realized that one of the tires had been punctured by someone. Helpless, Tara had to call Victoria to come and pick them up. In the pizza shop, a man cleaned the restroom while cursing angrily at the clown. At this point, Steven's head had already been turned into a jack-o'-lantern. After coming out of the restroom, he discovered Steven's head and the clown holding a knife. Panicked, he tried to escape, but the clown quickly caught up and severed his arm with the knife, then proceeded to stab him to death with a small knife. Meanwhile, Tara and Don were waiting in the car for Victoria when Tara suddenly felt the need to use the restroom. At that moment, a man walked out to smoke, and she quickly borrowed the restroom. Leaving Don in the car, a man took Tara to a public restroom and then left. Just then, a police announcement came through the radio. 2 employees at the pizza shop had been killed, and the suspect was a person dressed as a clown. At that moment, an ambulance raced past from the side. Dawn opened her phone's photo album, looking at the pictures of the clown, realizing that she had just moments ago squeezed his face and taken pictures. The more Dawn thought about it, the more frightened she became. Just then, someone got into the car, and she thought it was Tara returning, but when she turned her head, she saw it was the grinning clown. As Tara came out of the restroom, she suddenly heard a creepy baby's cry. She followed the sound and arrived at the warehouse, where she saw a tape recorder placed in a handcart. As she turned to leave, a woman appeared behind her, holding a doll and claiming it was her daughter. Tara quickly found an excuse to leave. Just as she reached the entrance, she encountered the blood-covered clown. Tara took refuge in an abandoned garage, but the clown quickly chased after her. She cautiously observed through the car window, seeing the clown greedily sniffing the blood on his hands. Suddenly, the clown turned his head, and Tara quickly crouched down, but she was still a step too slow. Watching the Joker's slowly departing footsteps, Tara poked her head out to observe the situation. Unexpectedly, the clown suddenly appeared from behind and stabbed her leg with the knife. She struggled and managed to pick up a small knife from the ground, stabbing the clown's body in return. Tara hurriedly ran towards the exit, but he had already locked the main gate. With no other choice, she had to escape to the upper floor. At that moment, Mike was cleaning upstairs, and Tara urgently called for help, but he was wearing headphones and couldn't hear Tara's cries for help. When Tara regained consciousness, she found herself bound to a chair with her hands and feet tied. The clown squatted nearby, selecting tools, watching Tara struggling incessantly. The clown held a hammer to scare her. Relishing in her terrified expression, the clown felt delighted, and then pulled out a steel saw from a black bag. He grabbed her hair and aimed the saw at her throat. Instead of hurting her, the clown walked up to Tara and ripped off the white cloth right in front of her face. She saw Dawn hanging naked upside down on a rack. Dawn, hanging upside down, felt an overwhelming sense of despair in her heart. Without hesitation, the clown used the saw to cut Dawn in half. Watching Dawn split in two, Tara struggled in desperation. Driven by a strong will to survive, she managed to break free from the restraints. The Joker sees this and rushes to stop her. Tara knocks him down. Then, she picked up the small knife from the ground and stabbed the clown in the back before quickly escaping. She grabbed a wooden plank and continuously attacked the clown. Looking at the clown, she screamed in anger. Just as she was about to continue her assault, the clown shot Tara in the leg. He aimed the gun at Tara's head and, after a few shots, her head was in a gruesome state. This brutal scene was witnessed by a deranged woman. The clown revealed a twisted smile, and the terrified woman ran away. She ran to the second floor to find Mike and told him that a clown was killing people downstairs. She asks Mike to leave with her, but Mike doesn't believe her and pushes her down. Then, he walked downstairs to make a phone call, unaware that the clown had silently approached him from behind. Meanwhile, the deranged woman remembered her own child and hurriedly ran back to her room to check on them, but the child was already missing, and she searched everywhere. In a narrow corridor, she found her child, who was being held by the clown. The deranged woman slowly approached the clown, begging him to give her child back. She looked at the clown in front of her and embraced him as if he were her child. The clown cooperated with the woman like a child. Victoria saw a car parked by the roadside and tried calling Dawn's phone, but no one answered. There was no other choice for her but to go inside and look for them. Victoria made a phone call and heard the ringtone. She followed the sound and walked over to see Dawn, who was split in half. She turned around and ran outside, but then she heard a woman scream. A woman covered in blood lay on the ground, and Victoria quickly called an ambulance. Soon after, Victoria heard the woman's cry for help. She turned her head and found a woman lying in the corner, covered in blood. At this moment, the woman sat up suddenly, and it turned out that it was Clown wearing a crazy woman's hair. Victoria was frightened and ran away. Quickly hiding in a cabinet. When she heard no more movement outside, she cautiously pushed the cabinet open and quietly walked out. The clown is riding a small car happily like a child. After a few laps, the clown disappears. At that moment, one of Mike's colleagues came to the warehouse looking for him. He picked up the doll, unaware of the clown behind him. Victoria hid in an abandoned factory when the clown suddenly appeared and covered her head with a plastic bag. Victoria used her hands to tear open the plastic bag and picked up an iron spike from the ground, stabbing it into the clown's foot. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Victoria quickly escaped. In a dimly lit room, she saw the lifeless body of Tara. As she was grieving, the clown quietly approached. He viciously whipped Victoria with an iron chain, causing her to cry out in pain. Suddenly, Mike appeared and knocked out the clown with a gas canister. He took Victoria into a room and called the police. Seeing Victoria's severe injuries and continuous bleeding, Mike decided to take her to the hospital. Just then, the clown chased after them and smashed the gas canister onto Mike. Victoria ran away in a panic. In a panic, Victoria was hit by the clown's truck and lost consciousness. The clown happily twists and turns to the music. Shortly after, the police arrived and found the clown biting Victoria's face. They ordered him to raise his hands, but the clown knew he couldn't escape and shot himself with a handgun. The police were unable to intervene in time. Victoria was rescued in time and saved her life, while the clown was taken to the morgue. When the coroner was about to perform an autopsy on the clown's body, the room's lights suddenly started flickering. After everything returned to normal, a hand tightly gripped the coroner's neck. The clown miraculously came back to life. With a chilling scream, the clown's killing spree began again. A year later, Victoria, heavily scarred from the clown's bite, finally got discharged from the hospital. As the sole survivor of the clown murder case, Victoria was invited for an interview by a television station. After the interview, the host complained backstage that Victoria's appearance was too frightening. Little did she know that all these words were heard by Victoria, and she lost her life because of it. At this time, a man wearing big leather shoes kicked the TV into pieces. Afterwards, the clown packed various tools into a plastic bag and walked out of the room with the bag on his back.